Sparrow, you got a hit right there.
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Capturing the Game. It's the Game Within the Game podcast featuring me, your host, Desmond Jones, and my man's the one and only Jawan Polo Man Stewart. Today, we got another co-host in the building. Her name is Mrs. Chantel Smith-Jones. But now that we got some of the introductions out the way, let's go ahead and talk about today's guest. Today, I bring you Eron Gordon, the guard from the Rio Grande Valley Vipers. Eron, how you doing today, man?
Pretty good. I'm blessed, man. I'm just happy to be here.
Look, man, we are happy to have you on the board. Like, I feel like we're having one of our own on the podcast. I know you come from Indianapolis, so it's like, much love. You represent Indiana out here, home of the basketball. This is where basketball was founded and started at, you know what I'm saying?
Sure,
so much love to you, man.
Thank you.
Sorry for the pre-show shenanigans. We always got
Ain't no
these...
shenanigans. There's no shenanigans.
I enjoyed it. It was pretty funny.
Ain't no shenanigans.
It's shenanigans. Like, again, so before the show, we was talking about hand sanitizer. And the only thing I was saying is people like to have some decent hand sanitizers on them. And no one likes to have them cheapo. Like, you feel like your hand's about to burn off because you pour.
I ain't say it gotta be cheap, but why was yours yellow? Is what I was asking. That's the only question I asked.
It's a peach flavor, okay? It's peach.
Okay.
Peach.
Okay.
We left butchering words behind in 2022, so I'm not going to pronounce this last part of.
So I'm gonna ask Eron, would you have flavored colored hand sanitizer?
See, I personally wouldn't, but
okay,
I would have like flavored like soap, but not like flavored hand sanitizer.
I rest my case.
That's one person, all right.
I rest my case.
We'll put the poll out.
Would you have this as well, Chantel? Would you have this flavored?
I would. I mean, I don't want my hands smelling like, them hand sanitizers they give you all the time, and it be smelling like your nose hairs is burning. I don't want to smell that.
You just take. Oh, you know what? I don't know why I even asked you.
It gotta be the Bath and Body Works,
know why I
bro.
Is that what that is?
Yes, that's what
you got. But you got that from her though for Christmas. That's a Christmas. I don't want to. No, we're not gonna do this. No, nope.
Well, let's just say that we have a plug when it comes to hand sanitizers.
Okay.
Like that. All right.
Okay.
Leave it at that. All right. But Eron, real talk. Go ahead. Since we got you on the podcast, can you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself so the audience can get to know who you are?
Oh, well, so currently I'm, the backup point guard for the Rio Grande Valley Vipers in the G League. They won a championship last year, so, we're coming in with a lot of high hopes. And I just recently played 6 years in college, 2 at Seton Hall University and 2 at Valparaiso. I just got my master's in May. Currently it's crazy. And currently I'm actually going to be finishing my PhD here in the next couple of years in organizational leadership. And then another backstory, my brother Evan owns EG3 Basketball Academy in China. My brother Eric is playing with the Houston Rockets, and my father runs E3 Basketball Academy in Indianapolis.
Okay, I'm going to throw a backstory on this. Because I'm low-key a Gordon too. Nobody say anything. Okay. Because in middle school.
Go ahead, T. Go ahead.
In middle school, I knew of Eric when he played at IU, right? So, in the MySpace days, I used to tell everybody my MySpace said Lady Gordon. So I was a Gordon for all of maybe 2 or 3 years. So, I love the Gordons. I'm just going to put that out there.
She just had to plug her story. You see that? She had to plug her story. You see that?
Like, no one even asked. She
said, I got to get this in. I got to get this off my chest. It's been a long time. She said the MySpace days. People, that just show you how long ago this was. MySpace ain't even thing anymore.
The dawn of social media.
Yeah. Did you have Eron Gordon? Did you have him in your top 5 too or something? In your top friends list, T?
He wasn't my friend. I was only like a fan of Eron Gordon. I knew him personally.
I forgot. Okay. Yeah, that's how you was talking though. That's how you was talking.
So what you trying to say?
I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't even know where to go. All right, so all right. First off, much kudos to you. It's not often you hear about people that's one pursuing their masters, but also well has got their masters, but also has a PhD on top of playing basketball. Most people they focus on ball is maybe a side hustle on the side like music or what.
Mhm.
You and your family have a whole camp set up not only just here in the States but also overseas. Top of that, you getting your masters. Shout out to you. I'm giving you a round of applause because
Thank you,
I
thank you,
love,
much appreciated.
yeah, like I love seeing educated, black brothers. That means the
Thank you, thank you.
And you said you're getting your PhD in
Yeah, organizational leadership.
leadership? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell me? I've seen that. Okay. So what does that mean exactly? What does that mean?
I mean, so like if you really want to like do like public speaking, run a company, get a like leadership advisory to other companies, it's really good for certain things like that. A lot of people like who else would have it? So someone like Steve Harvey would like have it, someone who does like motivational speaking, like
Yeah.
Mixes it up a little bit, goes to other companies, corporations, speaks with them, does, just advisory over companies, stuff like that.
Gotcha. Okay. Tell us a little bit about, so since we're on the topic of college, let's talk about your experience at college. You had Seton Hall, Valparaiso. What was it like?
Oh man, it was a blessing to play at two basketball schools. I think when you think about Seton Hall, you think about Valparaiso, they're in that small niche of 20 schools where it's a small school. Basketball is key. Like when you look at like Seton Hall, I mean you're looking at schools like Gonzaga and Butler, Villanova. Like you're looking at a lot of schools like that where like once you step foot on campus and you're a basketball player, like it's like everything. Obviously, you have the blue bloods, the Kentuckys, the Kansases, but those are big, huge, major universities. So it was a unique experience going to two schools that were very similar, and it's basketball, everything. So I think that was a really cool experience for me in general, especially me being from Indiana and going to Valparaiso. That was like an experience, none like other. And I think a lot of kids should definitely, experience that.
So, what made you transfer, and then what was the process like?
So there's one thing about transferring is like most of the time most people transfer for multiple reasons, and that was kind of my reason. But I would say the main one was just having all three coaches. Well, there were two coaches. Shaheen Holloway, I mean, obviously he's a coach there now. He recruited me to go there. He left and went to St. Peter's. Obviously, they had that big run. And, there was just a lot of just speculation on if my head coach was going to leave. And then another assistant had left. And, we had about 10 guys. Well, not 10, it was 8 guys who had transferred. And no, 8 guys who graduated and 2 guys who transferred. So I would have been in, a whole new situation possibly. And, I just really wasn't sure if I really wanted to be, to do that, so far away from home, new coach, new teammates, new everything. And I kind of just wanted to just go back home and, go to another good program.
Bet. So was that because with all these college athletes going into the transfer portal and stuff like that, is that situation hard or is it like a tough situation?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I think my situation was a little bit easier, obviously coming from a Big East school and, being a top 100 recruit. It was a little bit easier for me because a lot of schools, were contacting me, and it was a lot of schools that, I, had interest in. And we also had a lot of team success. So it wasn't as bad, but it was still, it was still tough because I knew I was going to have to sit out a year. And I knew just, going to a new place after you kind of have had 2 years of a rhythm, especially going to a place where, it's a little bit smaller of a conference. It's still, the Valley's still probably a top 10 conference in the country, but it's not like the Big East, not number one or two. So that was a little bit of a change.
So one thing, so with all the games that you played, in college, I know most people got a game that lives rent free in their mind that they relive over and over again. What's that one game for you?
I would say probably hitting the game winner against Loyola in the tournament semi finals in 2020, because it was a year where we started to really play really well. I hit the game winning layup, and Loyola, obviously they had just made it to the Final Four. And it was just kind of like, it was just a big moment, for me, a big game for our school. And I think that runs over and over with me, because I think that made a big shift in our program, and it positively helped a lot of people, from that experience. And it was right before COVID. So it was like, after that happened, I kind of sat on it for, 8-9 months, before we got the season back going again. So there's a lot of reasons for that.
Let's say you're the reason why my bracket got messed up that year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that messed up a lot of people's bracket, because everyone had, Loyola, winning our conference tournament, and then going into the, Final Four, the next year. So, yeah, I messed up a lot of people's bracket for sure. And they were winning most of that game. So that was also pretty cool. A lot of people did, like, it's weird, like random people on like social media, they were pretty upset. They were like, you messed up my parlay. Like, it was bad. Yeah, like I literally had about 200-300 people after that game. It's like random people just like on Instagram just DM me and say, you messed up my parlay, et cetera, et cetera. It was actually pretty funny. But you want to know what else so funny? The next day, like all the games got shut down. So it was like, right. I mean, you guys would have lost your money anyway. So
yeah,
pretty funny.
So I got a question with that. Because we're gonna talk about the COVID piece. We're gonna get to that, but I've always wondered, I was curious, speaking of brackets and all that, do college athletes, do y'all actually, like when you were in college, did you fill out a bracket just as a, just as a whatever, just for fun type of thing?
So, I was in a weird situation. And I think, honestly, I do think that most do. But, my first year at CNO, my second year, we were like right. 7th in the country. So we thought we could win that, especially my second year. My first year, we were about like 24th, 21st. So, we thought we were going to win it all. So there, in our mind, I'm going into the tournament like we going, what I'm saying, anything can happen. And then the year that we also played well when I was at Valpo, it was like, we could make the tournament. So, we weren't really thinking of it like that. And then, last year we didn't play very well. So, I would say a lot of college athletes do, fill out their own bracket. Obviously, we're not supposed to, but a lot of college athletes do. But in my personal situation, nah. I mean, I just really enjoy watching the game, but I never really filled out a bracket. Gotcha. Just because I participated in it for 2 years, and then 1 year, it got shut down, and another year, I was done with college basketball, so I just like I'm gonna just be a fan of this.
Yeah, cool. I was always curious because that's always been something. I'm like, I wonder, do they fill out brackets? Like,
yeah, some of them definitely do. Some of them definitely do for sure.
I know if I was at them schools, I would be filling them out just so I could be like, see, we told y'all we was gonna beat y'all, just like that. But one thing I definitely want to ask before we even get into the COVID aspect of it is, what should athletes be looking at when they're trying to choose a college for them? Say, I'm top of the line, I'm top 100 recruit. In high school, what college, how should I go about choosing a college?
Yeah, so for me, I was in a weird situation. And I think a lot of, prospects are in weird situations when they're a top-rated kid, like how I was, but not necessarily a McDonald All-American, not like a first-round draft pick. Like going through the process, it's tough because, you always think in your mind, oh, I want to go to Duke or Kentucky or UCLA. And, those schools, they do like you. So, for example, if you're, the 58th, best player in the country, and you're whatever, the 7th rated point guard in the country or the 10th rated point guard in the country, it's tough because, when you're going through the process, UCLA would, for example, I'm not saying that this actually happened, but like, for example, like if you're UCLA, you'd be like, oh, I really want Eron Gordon, but that's if Lonzo Ball doesn't come. And I think a lot of times that happens to a lot of recruits, in that area, where you're, one of the top players in the country, but, you're not in that top, echelon. You're not a top, 4 or 5 point guard in the country. You're in that second end of, 7 to 11. So a lot of times, you run into those problems, and It's tough because you have so many different options, and it's hard to really cut down because you want to find the best place. And sometimes when you're wanting to go to a school, you may be their second option or their third option, whatever the case may be. So I would say always go to a school to where you're the first option on their list, whether they're your number one school or their school that you envision on playing at or something. I think if you're on their priority, they may change for you a little bit and they may accommodate your needs. And then obviously I just think as time goes on, you'll build more of a relationship with the coach just because they saw something in you that maybe the other coaches didn't.
So let's dig into the whole COVID thing. So how did all that affect you, like personally, just everything, just from start to finish? Like, how did it, I mean, because it stopped the world essentially, like sports, everything, like everybody kind of just stopped. So how did that affect all you, from that standpoint?
Oh, well, for sure. I mean, I played 6 years of college basketball. That was not by design. I did not, plan on playing that many years of college basketball. But with just having that extra year, everyone's getting an extra year. It upped my education, up more time for me to play college basketball. And I would just say that it kind of made my pro dreams of, playing a little bit, I shouldn't say harder, but it kind of pushed it back into another year just because I knew that I wouldn't be able to work out with teams. I knew I wouldn't be able to go to workouts. So they're definitely going to want kids who, played at, teams that were in the tournament, guys who are already, put in a draft board, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of pushed it back a year, and it kind of made the whole situation for me just like, okay, you got one more year, focus on yourself, focus on your education, focus on your life, and, keep building from there.
That's dope. That's dope. So going into a transition here, since you talked about, playing professionally and stuff like that. So how was it like being able to play for the Houston Rockets during the summer league? And then what was that process like?
Yeah, so the Houston Rockets Summer League was a really special thing for me. Kind of just going in and, playing against, some of the best young players really in the world. I mean, when you look at like, Kevin Porter Jr. and, Jalen Green, I mean, you're looking at dudes under 25. I mean, they're in the top, 10, 5, top, players in the world. So, going in there, working out with them, playing, with some of the top, draft prospects was, really cool. And, going in, obviously playing with the same organization as my brother for a summer was a really unique and cool experience. And I would just say that the entire experience was really just, I would just say unique, because coming into it, I didn't know that it was, going to be that way. Obviously, I didn't have myself projected to get drafted. Which I went undrafted. So I didn't know it was going to land like that and how smoothly it was going to be in the transition. But overall, it was really just a blessing of an experience when it happened.
That's awesome. And I know I read that the reason why you had got the call up for the Houston Rockets Summer League was because they saw you training with Eric, and they saw something and brung you on that way. So can you tell us a little bit how that training was going?
Yeah, so obviously, that's probably not what a lot of people, thought in general. They probably thought, oh, Eric probably told them, oh, we want to play. But no, it was like, they went up to me and they went up to Eric, and they asked, what is he doing? And I had told them that I planned on playing in France overseas. And they were like, no, like we actually really like him. And I was kind of shocked. And I was out there and I was playing with some of the top players in the world, like Jalen Green and Porter Jr. and, a lot of top guys. And, I did another draft workout with, other guys that were there. So they were kind of shocked, and they just said, oh, we really like him, and, we really want to work with him and develop him. So I think that kind of meant a lot more to me versus if it happened the other way around, it'd be a little bit different. But, kind of how it happened there, it kind of changed my perspective on, my ability and what I could do.
That's awesome.
And what advice has your big brother Eric given you, like during this process, during this journey, like just that whole piece of it? I mean, I'm only child, so I don't know what that's like to have somebody that's, like in the professionals, and then they kind of giving you that, and you're right on the cusp of it, like, you know what I'm saying? So just, can you tell us a little bit about that? Like what that journey was like with him?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird. Like a lot of people always ask me that, and I'm just like, really, it's just like it's any other big brother, little brother thing. Obviously, when you're talking about two people who are in professional sports, and most people don't obviously have a brother who's played 15 years in the NBA,
Yeah.
but we just have any other, unique, like when we talk with each other, we don't, talk about basketball 24/7. He's just like any other big brother to me. Same with my brother, Evan. Evan is, he's played in the CBA and now he's coaching at one of the top, teams in China. Like, a lot of people always ask me like, what is it like? And I'm just like, it's pretty much like anybody else who, has had a brother who's then, done that. They beat me up when they see me. Even now, it's to me, it's really organic of a relationship between us. We're not really just, whenever we get together, we're just talking about basketball. We talk about, life goals, certain things. They've been really on me about, my next step of getting married, because I'm getting married here in, the next 6-7 months. So, they've just talked to me about that and, giving me advice and, just overall just been a big help, in terms of that.
And let's I mean,
Congrats.
congratulations as well.
Thank you.
I saw that this is your middle school sweetheart.
Yes, middle school sweetheart.
Now I'm gonna say is this: that's a long time to be with one person,
Yeah,
especially for middle school.
Yeah, it's a long time for sure.
That's all I was gonna say. So congratulations on that for sure.
Thank you.
That's dope. I mean, especially if you could keep y'all kept in touch from middle school to y'all adult ages. Like that's
For sure.
That's a different level right there. I gotta give you kudos for sure.
Thank you.
Give him another round of applause. Give him another round of applause, Desmond. Give him another round of applause. There we go. Yes, that's what we need right there. There we go. Great. Good.
That's commitment, man. Like,
yeah, for sure.
Like not many, hardly anybody could never say that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times whenever people tell me, they're just like, we've seen the whole high school sweetheart thing, but we haven't seen the whole middle school sweetheart thing. So, I kind of love when people say that.
Yeah, that's some old school type stuff. It's like, that's stories that your grandparents tell you. Yeah, I've known your father since we was in grammar school.
Yeah,
and you don't hear about that nowadays.
Yeah, it's unique
age.
now. Yeah, it's definitely unique now, especially through the social media age. It just didn't happen, that often.
Yeah. So as you know, so me and my wife have been married for 2 years. Three, gonna be going on 3 years coming July. What are you looking forward the most about being married?
I would say the thing I'm looking most forward to being married is just, having a support system there all the time. It's been, really cool and unique, but, I've kind of been gone, in college, to Northern Indiana and obviously to, the New Jersey, New York area, but just have someone that's there, with me every single second of the day, kind of going through the process with me and, me helping her and her, her helping me, and just cherishing, those moments to where there's downtime, we can just help each other and, kind of form, something that I just think, helps both of us. And, I'm just looking forward to obviously, just kind of just becoming one and just building our lives, on each other and being the shoulder to lean on, for each other.
One day I'm gonna get there. One day
your
I'll
wife. I'll say your wife is getting a real one. Well, y'all both getting a real one. That's all I'm gonna say.
Thank you.
I want to talk about the G League a little bit. So, what was your very first game like playing G League? Like, was it like a shock factor? Like, oh dang, this is really totally different from college.
Yeah, so it's weird. So my first G League game was in Mexico City, and that was actually the Capitane's very first G League game. And what I mean by it was a shock, I'm talking about you have 20,000 people. And this is my first time in Mexico City. Not my first time in Mexico, but my first time in like a ginormous Mexico City. Like I've been to the, vacation spots, but when you're in Mexico City, it's a very different atmosphere. And like it was just kind of weird, you're in an arena the size of United Center, it's sold out. Everyone's speaking Spanish, and they're cheering really hard because they really want an NBA team. So it was, it was a really tough game. We found out that Willie Cauley-Stein and Ray Spalding, both of our centers were not going to be playing. We found it out, going into the trip. So it was a rough experience, but it was really cool, for me. I mean, I got my first 2 points there on free throws. So it was a really cool experience, I would say.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So I know there's a whole draft process.
Yeah.
Which is totally different from the NBA. So the NBA has their own, the G League has their own. So did you know that you were getting drafted in the G League, or was that a shock too?
Yeah, no, I knew I was going to get drafted into the G League. They kind of have a portal to where like you go in, and like I said, any other team could have drafted me. And that's how the portal has been. But kind of GMs kind of figure out who they want, and they kind of just have their picks. And not very often does someone steal someone else's pick, but more times than not, you go down there and you kind of just figure out who do I want, who do I want to bring in. And, more times than not, it's only going to be one or two players anyway, because most of the time people already have their rights. As you guys know, I mean, the G League is pretty much just an extra filler of the NBA team. It's pretty much the NBA teams, last, couple players off the bench and, two-way contract guys, Exhibit 10 guys. They may bring in another one or two guys. So it's pretty much all the same thing. And, the draft is just, those extra people that haven't really played in the G League or in the NBA right away. So, that's, mainly what it's for. So, I knew I was going to get drafted.
Cool. Quick. So with that, what would you describe your play style as? Like, you could give it to me. I know you're a gamer. So if you want to give it to me in the 2K archetype, then that's cool too. However, what would you describe your game as?
Oh man, I would say, specifically, when you're talking about, this level of basketball, I think right now I'm really focusing on, I would say, kind of being more of an all-around point guard, someone who could score a little bit. And obviously the point guard position is, changing right before our eyes. I mean, if you were to ask me what a point guard is 5 years ago versus now, I mean, it's night and day difference. Most starting point guards in the NBA team are shooting, 17 times a game, versus even just 5-10 years ago, starting point guard is probably shooting like 6 or 7 times a game. So I would say that, I'm somewhere in the mix of, a guy that's kind of more of a combo guard, that can really facilitate a little bit, create plays. I think I'm a pretty solid defender. So I think I'm more of an all-around sort of point guard, as you should say. I think a player comparison would kind of be like a Marcus Smart in a way. Obviously, he's much more developed in his game because, he's played that way and, he's been, with the same team and, very similar players, too, on top of that. So, I would say I feel that a little bit more as I'm starting to get older, player more like Marcus Smart.
So I'm gonna just make up my own archetype from what I'm hearing. I'm gonna say a two-way facilitating point guard. That's what I'll go with. We'll go with that.
Yeah,
that's
I mean, I haven't played. I played my part, and for some reason, it never goes into archetype of the player that I actually want to be. Whenever I put in the attributes of what it is, it never actually goes to it. It turns into like a like a 3-level player. What do they call it? Three level score.
3-level score
there. I just think it's like just like a playmaking defender. Like it changes every single year. That's what it ends up turning out to be whenever I try to make myself in the game.
Makes sense.
See, all this talk about 2K makes me want to go hop on right now.
Hey, I got my player. He ready. So, what I'm saying? It's all good.
Oh, mine ain't. That's the problem.
Well, you ain't running with me then.
No, you gotta run with me. I'm just there as a decoy. I'm gonna throw you the right out a couple of games. I can hit a couple.
Decoys in 2K. You will get exposed quickly.
I'll just be a decoy. They still give you the brown shirt.
Yeah,
that's what they used to call the doo-doo shirts. That's how you did when you first got the game started.
Yeah.
And
you had the 2K shoes on too? Yeah, no.
2K generics.
You had the generics on. You go stand in that corner. We don't need you doing nothing. Don't do a thing. Stand in the corner. That's it.
Look, when in my heavier 2K days, I'll still have that stuff on, but I'll be ranked pretty high, so people wouldn't know, and I start balling on them, and they was like, "Oh no, we actually got to guard this dude." That's how you get in people's minds,
It ain't like that no more. 2023 done kind of changed that dynamic. It's people still hooping in generics and they be killing people. So it's just what it is right now. The game is different this year, for sure.
So since we on this gaming topic, I know Aaron, you like to game, but so go ahead, tell us, the love for games, why you love to play games, what type of games you like playing.
Yeah, so I've actually started watching my brother Evan playing video games. There's not one game I think my brother Evan is not good at, or cannot get good at within 2 weeks. So I kind of just grew up watching him playing, and as I started to get older, obviously I started traveling for AAU, and I was always on the road, so it's hard for me to pick up hobbies that most kids would, because most of the time in the summer. I wouldn't just be at home. I would always be, traveling, and gaming was something that I could always do, especially since by the time I got into 5th, 6th grade, online gaming got really popular. So I kind of just naturally gravitated into, video games in general, playing online. And, I recently just started streaming about, 2 years ago, and I just got used to it. And, that's just kind of a natural thing for me now. So, I just kind of just felt like it was an easy thing for me to pick up. It didn't really, use too much of anything other than just a console. So it was just something that I just picked up as a hobby.
What console you play on?
So I'm still on both. I'm still on Xbox and PlayStation, but I play on PlayStation a little bit more.
All right, we good. That's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear.
I do play on PlayStation a little bit more.
We're good. All right. Might have to add you or something, we had to link up.
Yeah, no, we definitely got to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me get my 2K character up.
No.
But see, that's the thing. I don't play 2K very often.
Okay.
Yeah.
What other games do you play?
Like I play Fortnite, pretty much all the COD games, Grand Theft Auto, Apex, Need for Speed. Like I'm big on those games.
Okay, so what's your thoughts on the new Call of Duty?
I would say Modern Warfare 2 is pretty good. I mean, it's not the greatest, but I do think that it's still pretty solid. Like I was playing it, 2 days ago? I think it's, looking back at it, I think that they definitely should have did a little bit more work on it. I definitely think that they should have made some more new maps, but overall it's pretty good. I don't necessarily like the Warzone that much. I'll be honest. The Warzone I did not see the big improvement. It's too big of a map. But overall, I do think it's pretty solid. I mean, it wouldn't be one of my better games, but it's definitely not one of the worst Call of Duties. It's definitely in the lower middle of the pack. So not great reviews, but not bad.
I agree. So what would you say? This gonna tell me if you're a true COD player.
Mm-hmm.
What's the S tier Call of Duty game?
Oh, I would say there's probably 3. I would say Modern Warfare 2, the original on PlayStation 3, Black Ops and Black Ops 2. I think that those are the top tier of games. Those 3. I didn't really enjoy some of the newer ones, like within the later 2000s. Like I didn't enjoy Ghost. I didn't enjoy Infinite Warfare that much. Black Ops 3 to me wasn't very good. Black Ops 4 was okay. The original Modern Warfare on the PlayStation 4, the one in 2019, was pretty good. Cold War wasn't that good. And what else? I'm missing one more.
Vanguard just came out.
Vanguard. Yeah, Vanguard. That was okay. It was
trash. It was trash.
Yeah, that was another okay. I just think that it had been 2 years since Zombies came out, so I was like, okay, I kind of like having it back. But yeah, it ended up being kind of trash. But I just think, in my personal view, I haven't played Zombies in 2 years, so I
get that. I get that. Yeah,
that was one thing I loved about Call of Duty was the zombies. I was like, yo, this is fun.
Yeah, like that's the reason why I enjoy Vanguard, because I hadn't played it in 2.5-3 years, competitively with actually people on there besides just the try hard. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, I suck at Call of Duty.
You could learn. It's not hard.
No, I don't be knowing where people be coming from, and I hate that.
It's the same. Look at Call of Duty like you look at Fortnite. They're similar because I can't get down with Fortnite because it's just too much for me. Building forts, and that's too much for me. It's just too much. I just want to run around and shoot some people if I'm gonna do that. That's just me. But it's the same principle. It's just cartoony. That's all. Call of Duty more realistic. That's the difference.
I definitely
I'm
agree.
more of a Need for Speed.
Yeah,
So
I
when
really
you're ready
enjoy
to
Need for
race,
Speed. Yeah.
So you want to run over people then? That's what you like to
yes, I like to drift like I'm a Toretto. Okay,
do.
that's me, Need for Speed.
Yeah.
She's for real. Because let me
I
tell you
know.
about some of the times that I've come in the crib and I hear the surround sound going with the racing, and she just move, get out of my way. It's like, oh, she really into it. So let me go ahead, go into the office. I'm gonna go mind my business. She's in a
That's
whole
funny.
different universe when she ain't even.
That's funny.
That and like Midnight Club, like Midnight Club
Midnight
is a
Club
little old
OGs.
school.
That's OG
Yeah.
though. That's OG game.
She's still into it. She's like, look, this game would teach you how to drift and everything. Like, so that's
Midnight Club
that's
was
what she
definitely
be on.
that was top tier though. That was top tier. That was definitely top tier.
It was. And real quick, so what platforms do you mostly stream on?
I actually just stream. Right now I'm only on YouTube. I
Okay.
tried to do Twitch. It really wasn't my thing. I definitely didn't enjoy like random people coming in and out. I kind of enjoy, YouTube because I can kind of build a base of, my community of people.
Yeah.
Right now I got like a subscriber kind of like 130. So I enjoy it versus I think Twitch, there's more people on there, more people came in and out, but it was like normally it's, random kid that just comes in for like 10 minutes or whatever and then leaves. I kind of like, a base of people. So I really enjoy YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, I do both. So I got I'm starting to try to get my YouTube off the ground a little.
Yeah.
Actually put a little bit more focus in.
That's one thing that
Twitch.
it's hard to get a good, YouTube a good, following base on YouTube because people really have to be really invested in you in YouTube. And getting subscribers is a lot harder than getting followers. I'll tell people that because when you subscribe, you're giving someone more of your time versus when you just follow, you're kind of just giving someone a click. It's a little bit different. I try to explain that to people.
You preaching to the choir because I get it.
Subscribers are hard to get. Followers are not.
So wait, do you play on the Switch at all, or you don't have a Switch?
No, I don't have a Switch. You know what's so crazy? I actually play on my Wii a little bit. Whenever I go back home, I get back on the Wii. I do not play the Switch at all, but I'll get back on the 2007, 2006 Wii, and I'll go and play Mario Party, Mario Kart, Wii Play, Wii Sports, all that.
Yeah, that Wii Sports was top 2 when it came out. That was next level right there.
I actually enjoy Wii Play more than Wii Sports.
Really?
Yeah. Wii Play was pretty good.
It was always the Wii Sports for me. Like
Wii Sports was definitely a lot more dynamic, like especially when it comes to the baseball game. Wii Sports was just different back then. Bowling to me was too easy. Like I felt like I've seen people do turkeys on there. It started to get like over the course of a couple of years, like people started to get too good at that.
Oh, I was legendary.
Yeah, like
my
people
dad
were
was
bowling
throwing
like
blows.
people were bowling like 267. I'm just like, all right, I'm done. Like this came way too unrealistic.
Can't even do this in real life. Here you are, every game 260.
Yeah, like these are people who I would go out to bowl with in real life. They're bowling like 80, and then they go on, Wii Sports, and they're like 230. I'm like, all right, like I'm done. I'm done with this.
Oh snap! You ain't told no lie though. You ain't told no lie. You ain't told no lie.
He has it. Switching gears a little. So with all the education that are you still interested in broadcasting? Is that one of your things that you're still interested in, or once you finish your PhD, what's the game?
Yeah, so I kind of want to be someone who's involved in a lot of different things. Someone who I really look at, who I could see me being, somewhat similar to is like a guy like a Joe Rogan, someone who does a lot of different aspects of media, a lot of different, advisory things that he does, just being a part of a lot of different things. And that's something that, I can see my life whenever I'm done playing. I kind of want to do a little bit of stuff on TV, do a little bit of coaching, do a little bit of everything. Like I don't want to necessarily be pinpointed on one thing. So that's the reason why, like, for me, now I'm, just kind of just focusing on, taking care of my finances. So I'm, able to, have a career in many different things and really enjoy every second of the day, whether it's, not necessarily having a job. It's something where, I'm, giving myself up for someone else and kind of just, just enjoying everything I do. So, that's kind of what I want to do. And yeah, I do want to, do some broadcast media stuff when I'm done. And, I've gotten actually quite a few job offers, to do it. So I'm still, heading on that plan.
Speaking into that, since we already on like the media stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you got a podcast. So do you feel like, tell us about your podcast for one. Two, do you feel like that's helping you kind of, because I almost feel like, and this, I'm just saying this just for me, because like media, now you got this new media that people are talking about, then you got like podcast media that's like, I feel like podcast media is like where you get the real authentic person nowadays. Because the TV show, you get the, they're nice and dressed up, looking good, trying to make it sound good. But then you hear them on the podcast, like, that's a whole different dude right there.
Yeah,
I like
100%.
this. So tell us about that. And do you think the podcast piece is helping you kind of shape the lane that you want to go down in like professional media, quote unquote, even though it's all professional, but it's just how you shape it at the end of the day?
Yeah, you can look at that, and you look at even guys like Shannon Sharp, and you can look at so many guys that are on, in media. I mean, even if you look at what they're doing with all the smoke. I mean, these are people who do a little bit of both, and for me, obviously, I can't, just with me playing professionally now, I can't really go to ESPN or Fox Sports right now and be working for them. So I kind of just wanted to have my own lane. Obviously talking to a variety of different people, like on my podcast. I try to do one-on-one interviews. I normally don't do group interviews, and normally it's just me and somebody else. And I use that time to really, focus in on stuff that I can learn, something that, I think could help others as well as me. And I think that will really help, my experience going into doing it and, to growing itself on its own, because right now, I do have a degree in communication, and I have played basketball, but that to me is where I think a ESPN or somebody would draw the line and say, well, he has this, but what else has he done? Has he gone out and did this? And for me to not be able to do that, it would be kind of tough for me to walk into that. So yeah, I do think that having a podcast would definitely help me grow my brand in terms of my broadcast media skills. And then I think it actually helps me in general, just help my communication skills in general, skills where other people can understand what I'm saying, and kind of constructing an interview, constructing a podcast, going back and forth. So it is a positive thing for me.
I like it. So how long you been doing your podcast?
I've been doing my podcast for about 2 years. I started right during COVID. Obviously, that's when a lot of people started doing their podcast. And, I was part of the explosion of podcasts over COVID. And, kind of just me doing it at home. And, other people, they were, wanting to talk to me. And I say, hey, man, let's get on the podcast. So, I've been doing it for about 2 years. 2.5 years now.
That's dope. So like with your podcast, I know you travel a lot. So can you tell us, a little bit about your travel blogs as well?
Yeah, so when I do my vlogs, and I also do podcasts when I'm on the road too as well, but when I do my vlogs, it's pretty much just a way for me to kind of just capture the moment that I'm in. Like I recently went to Las Vegas for Christmas over the G League showcase. So I kind of just wanted to bring people along, and for me, it's such a great tool for me to promote exactly what I'm doing and everything that I'm a part of. So it's a special moment.
That sounds pretty dope. I gotta go check it out now for sure.
For sure.
With that being said, one thing I do want you highlighted earlier, and I want to bring it back, is that you guys had the E3 Basketball Academy. So tell us, how it got started, and then also tell the audience on how people can get involved, or if people can get involved in that particular camp.
Yeah, so for the most part, most people can get involved in terms of going to e3basketballacademy.com. And the number one thing that I think a lot of people can end up doing is always staying close to the game, working on their game. I think for me, and as well as many other guys who have went and played college basketball and who have went and played high school basketball at a high level and obviously pro, like I think the number one key thing is to build a routine. And I've always said this, like, if I go back to, pretty much everyone who has, been successful at this level, they've just been consistent each and every day. They've, did everything possible, to get to that level. And they treat their game like it's a business. Like, you have to do this at this amount of time. And, over the course of years, it adds up. So, I mean, that's pretty much the goal for my dad. And, as well as me, as well as, everyone in my family, my brother Evan in China, is to kind of build something to where it's a positive thing for kids and to build positive habits.
Speaking of athletes, how the one thing I want to ask about, I feel like I looked at this when I was an athlete, but how important is your nutrition as an athlete?
Well, the nutrition is I would say it's important, especially once you hit a certain age. I would say about by 21, 22, you'll start to really see a difference in, how nutrition is going to make you feel, how it's going to feel, make you feel waking up every day, in the recovery process. Like certain things like sugar when you're, 18, it really is not going to affect you if you consume it when you're 18. But by the time you get about 23, 24, you work out and you have had sugar, it's going to slow down the process, and you may not realize that, right away. But over the course of time, if you don't put the right things in your body, over the course of time, you're going to be sore for 2 or 3 days instead of, 20 hours. It just slows down the process. So those are certain things that I think are really important the older you get. Obviously, I'm around my brother quite a bit, especially now since, he's in Houston. We talk about certain things like the recovery process, and he's so big on cutting certain things out. So it seems like the older you get, the more you have to really tune in and dial in, because the process slows down when you don't eat the right things.
That's good. And I think a lot of athletes don't understand that.
Yeah,
especially with me, because I ran track and we were on a diet, and I was like, dude, you're tripping. Like, I can't eat nothing. Like,
yeah.
you're wild. So I used to like sneak off and like go and eat stuff, because the nutrition stuff that they had us on was crazy. So I can only imagine how it is on a professional level, especially when you're trying to stay fit and you're now getting paid for what you like to do and stuff like that. So I can definitely understand that. So my next thing is for you is, with being an athlete, what are some ways you handled stress and mental health as an athlete, both on the college level and the professional level?
Yeah, so for me, I've been the type of person that, I like to build routines. I try not to put everything into a certain moment, to a certain situation. Like when I'm on the road, I like to call people. I like to play video games. I kind of like to get my mind off of just going in a hotel room, watching film, watching another basketball game, waking up, watching film, shooting around, going back, watching another basketball game. I think I've seen it a lot with just my teammates, and I've talked to other people, and that's something that they kind of do to get ready for that game. But I think the pressure of especially when you travel and you're, going through different things, when you overload yourself with too much, it can be kind of difficult. So sometimes just, realizing that, you're a human being, and, you have other interests just in the game. So I think it's really important for you to, decompress every single time. I think sometimes coaches and a lot of people say decompress now, get an off day. No, I think like even when you do practice that day, I think once you get done practicing, after you recover, now it's on to, other things. It's on to, going to movies or focusing on something else and enjoying something else other than, okay, now I gotta do this or do that. And even if you are working out twice a day, like I think 2 days are great, but what are you doing in that time in between? Like, are you enjoying what you do? Because, you're more than just that. So I think that's something that's, dramatically helped me a lot.
That's huge. And I think that's huge on several different levels for college athletes, or not even just college athletes, high school athletes, college athletes, professional athletes, whatever the case may be. I think having that understanding of how you just put that out there is huge. And I think what a lot of athletes need to incorporate in what they do, especially with having 2-a-days and stuff like that.
For sure.
So like, what do you have like any pregame rituals or superstitions or anything?
Actually, no, I actually do not want to do that because I feel like if I had rituals and stuff like that, if something didn't go right, I would be kind of thinking about that. So, I mean, pre-game rituals, I would just say for me is taking a nap. And after that, that's about it. Like, there's nothing else that I really like to do that, I'm like, it has to be done at this time because I just think that sometimes things can get thrown off so much. If you say, oh, I eat this at this time or I do this at that time, well, what if your bus breaks down or what if something can happen. You just never know. What if your hotel room key doesn't work or just a lot of different things can happen. So I try not to put too much emphasis on any of that. I just like to get a little bit of a nap in before the game, and that's really about it.
So, what I just heard? I just heard that, man. Just let me know when it's game time because I'll be ready to ball no matter what.
Really,
That's
I
what
mean
I
that
heard.
is true.
Yeah.
I think a lot of guys, they say that they have a lot of those superstitions, but really, like maybe some may have one or two, but most guys really don't. From the guys that I've asked, and like I said, I've asked a lot of guys. Like I've asked James Harden, I've asked Chris Paul. I mean, a lot of them don't really necessarily have real superstitions like how some people may think.
Yeah, my NIL client Diamond Johnson doesn't either. So
Yeah.
I asked her, she's like, no, I
Yeah.
might take a nap. That might be it. So
Yeah, that's how I am.
I got you.
I do try to make sure I do take a nap. Like I don't want to obviously like say like if I don't take a nap, but I do try to set time out to take a nap. But other than that, that's really about it.
Does a nap really help though? I mean, I'm just curious. Does a nap really help?
Well, I honestly don't think it does. I just think it's more mental. I mean, it's kind of resting your body because a lot of times you go through a shoot around. So whenever you go through a shoot around, it's just like, it's a great way to just decompress, not worry about the game and just kind of just fall asleep. I mean, it's hard. And number two, you're normally when you go back, you're just in a hotel room anyway. So it's just like, there's not that much you could do when you're kind of just sitting in the hotel room for 3 hours anyway. So it's just like, I might as well take a nap.
So speaking of that, because I wanna hear about what's the like. Take me through game day, like from you wake up top of the morning is game. What's the schedule for the?
In the G League or in college?
Let's do G League.
Yeah, because it's weird. So they actually are very different. I don't think a lot of people know that. So
Well,
for
let's
the
do
G
both.
League, yeah, okay. So I'll do college first. So in
Okay.
college, home game or away?
Both.
Okay. So those are actually very different too. It's weird. Like
Yeah.
it's
Need the whole list.
Yeah, so that's the reason why it's very different. So a home game, for example, like we're playing on a Tuesday, which we did at Valpo. We played every single Tuesday and Friday. No, it was Wednesday and Saturday. Home game on a Wednesday, we go to class early in the morning at like 8. Then we have a shoot around, whatever time that lands on. Normally is between a little break that we have from 10 to like 11. Then I would normally go back, have lunch, go back to class, kind of take a little nap from like whatever, I would say 4 to 6. And then like, let's say the game is that, yeah, I'll say 4 to 6. And then I would literally walk right over to the game that starts at 7:30, be on the court an hour before the game and go and play. And then on the road, let's say we had a Saturday game, let's say that it's at 7. We would wake up, eat breakfast, go to shoot around, eat breakfast at around 9 o'clock, shoot arounds at 10, come back, it's 11:30, kind of just, like I said, decompress for a little bit, watch film, go back to sleep or whatever, or talk to someone on the phone for another hour or so, and then go to the game from there. Now, in the G League, it's a little bit different because we pretty much do the same thing as the NBA team. So pretty much, if it's any game after 5, then we'll do like a shoot around routine. If it's any game 5 or before, we don't do a shoot around that day. And it's pretty much the same home and away for the G League. So pretty much we'll wake up at like let's say 10 o'clock. We'll have a shoot around for about an hour, more like 2, because film is a lot longer, and then the shoot around is pretty much only shooting. That's about an hour and a half, 2, and then we'll come back, and then we'll go back at around like 3:55. Now, here's where the biggest difference is. If our game is at 7:30, we leave at like 3, because we have a long film session at about 45 minutes. Then we do our own pregame, stuff, whether it's stretching. A lot of people do weights. A lot of people do a lot of different things, and then we're come back in, watch another, 30 minutes of film or so, and then we, go out as a team with like 20 minutes left. So it's a little bit different for both.
A lot different.
Yeah, between college and pro, like when in the pros, like you go to the game extremely early, and then like it's just like everyone's doing their own sort of thing, and then you kind of just roll right into the game with like 20 minutes left, 10 minutes left on the clock or whatever.
So, quick question.
Mhm.
So, when I ran track in college, they used to give us a set time where it's like, all right, if you got a class at 10:50, go to that 10 o'clock class, and then you're done for the rest of the day because we have to get on the road, whatever the case may be.
Mhm.
So with you guys with basketball, do they give you a set, like, okay, you have to go to classes up to this time, and then we emailed all your professors and told them you're not coming to class type stuff, or you guys got to go to every class beforehand?
Well, I'll be honest, and I know you guys want me to be honest. At Seton Hall, no, it was strictly basketball. At Valpo, I would say it depends on how well we were winning. I'll be honest with you. If we were winning, we didn't probably have to go to class. It was whatever. But if we were struggling a little bit, we had to be at every class up until whatever time before the game. So, that's how it kind of went, and that's how it, I would say pretty much is in most other places.
Gotcha.
What I just heard was, that's what I just heard.
Yeah, no, you heard right.
What I just heard was that most of the big schools, big schools, these stars ain't going to class. That's what I'm hearing. That's all I'm hearing.
Non-game days, more times than not, and I'm not saying for most schools, but that's just not a priority for them. It's just now. I'm not going they're going to class. I think that may be a little over exaggerated, like sometimes they're saying, but like on a game day, nah. Most of the time they're not going to class, and if it is, the game is at 7 o'clock and the class is at 8 o'clock. And once it gets past like 10 or anything, like no, like you're not doing afternoon classes.
Yeah,
that just didn't happen.
That makes sense.
All right, I definitely want to ask this before we go into our next round or next segment. But what type of advice do you have for college students that want to try to play in a professional?
Yeah, I would just tell people, and this was any sport, but especially basketball, like you got to be all in it. Like I tell people this, like even when our team was struggling, I was struggling. You have to have faith. Like you have to know, like I'm going to go pro, whatever happens, because by the time you get to this level, it's such a small, minute minority that like if there's any doubt, it's not going to work out. Because like I said, when you talk about the NBA draft, or you talk about playing in a top level league overseas, we talk about the G League draft, like there's not all these spots that's just being thrown everywhere. Like even if you look at any situation, like it's tough. So you have to really be dialed in. You have to know, like you have to really be committed to, saying, hey, I'm gonna be a professional athlete one day. Whether that's playing volleyball, and I say volleyball because I think a lot of times when people look at volleyball, like there's a lot of good volleyball players that I know that did not, go pro because I felt like they were all half in, half out. And obviously, in the volleyball space, like they have to give up a lot because they have to move their life, when they're 22 and, go overseas and play. So that's not something that a lot of times they really want to do. So you kind of have to really be committed to the process and know that that's what you want to do.
Like that. Now it's time for the game within the game segment. So this is our little fun rounds that we have to close out the podcast, where we ask little questions, what we call the game within the game. So my very first question is, are you ready to play?
Yeah, I'm ready to play.
All right, let's do this. All right, so we're gonna start off light, the most traditional question of them all. So, are you a chocolate chip cookie fan, oatmeal raisin, sugar cookie, snickerdoodle? What type of cookie?
Chocolate chip 100%. No
We start
question.
off the new
No,
year
there's no
beautifully.
ifs and buts about that.
Mm-mm-mm.
Okay, that's fair.
All right.
Got it.
TV shows or movies?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm gonna go TV shows.
What you been watching right now?
The Upshaws. That's Mike Epps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I've seen a couple episodes of that. I haven't seen all of them yet. Like, what season are they on?
They're on 2, so they're going to be on 3. And
Yeah.
I think about 8 days. It comes out on January 20th. You want to know the funniest thing about that is I watched the first season. I really enjoyed it. Like, I literally watched every single episode like 2 or 3 times. And what's so funny is I'm literally going to the airport and I see Mike Epps right there. And obviously he knows me and my brother, and he comes up to us and starts talking. And I'm like, dang, I was just watching Upshaw, like literally like coming up here, like on the road. He was like, oh yeah, we got another season coming out in like a week. I was like, what? And then I literally, as soon as that came out, I binge watched the entire 10 episodes, and it was pretty good. That was I'm telling you, that was a really cool story for me, because like I literally like was just watching, like just binge watching him, and then just to see him say, hey, we got something coming out in another week, and then to binge watch it again, that was pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's
He was
dope.
just in Fort Wayne too. Literally just in Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
Like the last 3 days, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah.
3 shows here. So yeah, it's kind of crazy.
That's pretty fire. So the next question is, so who is your favorite 5 in the NBA?
Favorite 5 players in the NBA. Okay. Obviously, should I go positions or just 5 players in general?
Just
Just
your
5.
5.
Obviously, my brother's number 1. Derrick Rose got to be number 2. Ooh, 3 more after that. That are in the NBA right now. I would have to say Dennis Smith. That's my boy. It's weird because like I know like a lot of my favorite 5 are going to have to be people that like I personally know or really close with.
Nothing wrong with that.
I would say Dennis Smith, Derrick Rose, my brother. I'm definitely not going to be cliche because I'm not going to choose none of my summer league teammates. So that's just fine. Let's just take away people that I know, because then I have to go. I'm gonna literally have to go everyone that I either played with or as something. So like it's just okay. So take away my brother and Derrick Rose, and people that I personally know really well. I would have to say Kawhi Leonard. I'll go Kawhi Leonard, Donovan Mitchell. I kind of know Donovan Mitchell a little bit too, but I don't really know him like that. Marcus Smart. Who after that? I like Embiid, and I'll go Giannis.
Okay.
And I'm taking like
like
I said, like I'm taking away like James, like because those people, like I said, I know, and that's just cliche. So those are probably my favorite, 5 that I don't know.
Good 5.
Makes
Good
sense.
5.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah,
All
I
right,
like the
so-
list.
Yeah, I mean it's a good list. I mean either list would have been fine. I mean I was cool either way.
I mean, if
So,
you're gonna go with, like I said, if you're just gonna go with people I'm gonna just say James, Derek, Mike Conley, my brother, and Dennis. But like I said, I know them, so it's different.
got a couple Indiana natives on there.
Oh yeah,
Mike
100%.
Conley, Next question would be, who has your favorite crossover?
Favorite crossover, Kyrie, 100%.
Magician.
There's like no question. Like when I played against him my freshman year at Seton Hall, and I was introduced to East Coast basketball. My freshman year open gym, I'm literally walking in, and Kyrie's just sitting there, just toying around with the ball. Coming in as a freshman, I was like, okay, this handle's a little bit different.
Yeah.
And that was after he won the championship. That was, sidestep Kyrie, like literally like a month after he won the championship. So that was a little bit different.
That's dope.
Kyrie's a different breed.
Yeah.
All right, so here's like an old school question for you: Vince Carter or Tracy McGrady?
Dunking or hooping?
Hooping.
Trace McGrady.
Okay, I'm not arguing against that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a tough call either way.
It is a tough call.
Yeah.
I do think it is tough, but I just think for me personally, I think I would go T-Mac. Just because I think his prime was better. But overall career, I would choose Vince Carter. But when it comes down to when they were both like in their prime around 2007, 2008, like I'm definitely going T-Mac.
Yeah, if T-Mac didn't get hurt, I think we would have a different story of T-Mac versus
100%. But I would say that about a lot of players though.
For sure. Even I would Derrick Rose in that mix too. I mean, if you don't subtract the injuries, whole different ball game. Yeah,
for sure.
Facts. So the next question is: amongst your brothers, who is winning a game of 21?
21. Weirdly enough, I'd say Evan.
What?
People don't know this, but Evan has a knack for playing one-on-one. He has a knack for scoring, and he's probably the best on-ball defender out of all of us.
Okay,
He's the clamp god.
Yeah.
That's what I just heard.
The middle child is always, I'm telling you, the middle child is always the best defender, the most disciplined, or whatever. So, that goes the same with our family. Every single family is like, the middle child is always the one that's just a little bit more of a solid player out of everybody.
All right, so you're saying Evan is the best defender. Who the best shooter?
Oh, Eric. I mean, Eric is top 5 shooter in the world, so it's night and day.
Yeah, I guess you got a point there. I thought you were gonna throw yourself in there to say, yeah, I should
go. I can shoot the ball well, but I mean,
cool. He cool.
Yeah, I think Eric is, by the time he retires, he's probably going to be 7th. We did projection. It's probably going to be 7th or 6th highest, most threes made. Obviously, it's going to get broke because, the more and more time goes on, people are just shooting more and more threes. But I mean, he's probably going to be 6th or 7th most threes made in NBA history. So he'll be up there. Because right now he's already like 14th or something. So I got to say him.
Okay.
So what you give yourself then?
I mean, I would say I'm a really good shooter. But I mean, if we're just comparing it to our brothers, I would have to give him. But I would say that I'm a pretty good shooter. Like I've shot 43% in college, which was I think 6th in the nation. So I'm a really talented shooter.
Now what about Pops? Okay. I mean, is Pops
now my dad can shoot the ball really well too. I don't think I'm number 2 now.
You know what I'm saying? Pops, I had to throw Pops in there too.
Now people don't know this, but my dad can probably shoot like inside 3-point arc. He can probably shoot better than Eric. But my brother has such deep range, and obviously he's one of the top NBA 3-point shooters. But inside the 3-point, my dad can shoot better than Eric.
So Pops might be able to get y'all on one-on-one. I mean 21 too.
No, not at all. Not anymore. Now, here's what's so crazy. People don't know this either, but my dad scored 81 against dudes who have recently played in the NBA and guys that were overseas in an adult league in the summer. In 2002, he scored 81 points on guys that were in, ACB league, Euro league, like top level guys. He scored 81, and my dad at the time was like 40. He's like 40 or 41, something like that.
He said Pop still got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. If I let someone like him drop 81 on me, I'm done that same day. I'm like, look, it's over. Yeah. I'm like, bro, this man just came. He came out of a wheelchair to drop 81. No,
my dad, he was pretty in shape at 40. A lot of people didn't know he was 40. But a lot of people didn't know he was 40. My dad was in pretty good shape when he was 40. But it wasn't like a lot of guys, they weren't like, oh, like that's an old dude. Because he was playing, like he played in that league. It's called the Big Tuesday. A lot of people have played in it. Weirdly enough, like a lot of like top level guys in Indianapolis have played in the Big Tuesday League. It's the one that was at the JCC. So yeah, he was especially early in the 2000s, he was well respected.
That's crazy. Still to come out there and drop 81, regardless. Yeah. They was probably said, hey, can you come play with us?
Yeah, I mean, it's weirdly enough, my dad, he has a lot of just weird basketball stories to where like there was this one guy, he played in the top league in Israel, And my dad had just literally, he was working pharmaceuticals, so he's literally behind the desk all day. And my dad literally beat him. I think they played to like 21. He beat him like 3 or 4 to 21.
Jeez.
And the guy had asked him, like, what NBA team do you play for? My dad was like, I work pharmaceuticals. And, I guess he had a lot of offers, after that, because the guy went back and told his agent. My dad had a lot of offers to play overseas right away just from, beating that dude, 21-4. So it was, he has a lot of unique stories for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So let's do this. Let's ask this. All right. If you can go pro in any sport other than basketball, what sport would it be?
This is going to be, shocking to a lot of people, but I would say MMA. I would definitely want to be a part of UFC if I was going to be in any other sport. I would say, and it's weirdly enough, I would say table tennis and MMA if I had to be in any. Y'all ain't never heard that from no basketball player.
Not the table tennis.
All this stuff is going to be so crazy to y'all, but my brother Evan, before he played in the CBA, the Chinese Basketball Association, he was a professional table tennis player in China.
Man, that's crazy.
You guys can look online right now on YouTube and type in Eron Gordon table tennis, and you're going to see him playing against some of the top players in the world in table tennis.
So he had that extra little,
that
good head. That's how the Olympics they be doing that little. They be killing that motherfucker.
Hey, he had all that. I mean, he played against My Long, who was considered like the Michael Jordan of ping pong, and he actually scored some points on him. Like, it was obviously he got killed, but like they played 3 games. So the overall score was like 33 to like 6, and that's like hard. Like one game he had like 5. Like I think one game was like 11-0. One game was like 5-11, and one game it was like 1-11. But score 5 points on him is extremely hard. That's like scoring like 5 points on like LeBron or Jordan or somebody in their prime, which is like really, really, really like that's how it was.
So I think we need to get Evan on here so that he can tell us about all that.
Yeah, Evan actually good. He'd be a good podcast. He'd be a good podcast for y'all for sure.
Well, I gave it the ping pong out. The table tennis got me. They got me right there.
Yeah,
they got me. Wow.
But
hey, don't say ping pong in front of him. Say table tennis.
Yeah, I gotta call it what it is. I forgot. I can't say ping.
Yeah, in front of him, he's gonna be like, "What's ping pong?"
Yeah, table tennis. Yeah.
Look, I can almost see it though. Like, it's just like one of those things. Like, it's 3 of them growing up. They probably played a lot. They probably played a lot of different things growing up. And that was just the one thing. Like, how do you even get good again? Table tennis?
So his best friends, it's weird. So one thing with Evan, he's had so many different things that have led him to ping pong that I think it was just destined for him to be. So his best friend's father, who just recently passed away, like I think a couple of years ago, he introduced him to ping pong, and he started playing, and he got really good when he was in like high school. So then he kind of left it alone for a couple of years, and then he meets his friend Lewis, which is like his best friend in the world. And he was big with ping pong, so he just naturally kept playing ping pong over and over and over again with him every single day. And then next thing you know, he goes over to China and he's still playing it. And then like I said, over there in China, it's like basketball over here, like
that's their
soccer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a huge sport. Like, it's like baseball. I don't know what's the biggest sport in the United States. Like, it rotates. It's football. Like, it's however you want to look at it. But over there, like, ping pong is king. So he went over there and he just started playing, and it just kept getting better for him. And he started playing professionally, and that's how he kind of got into it.
That's dope. You don't hear that story often.
No,
my brother Evan has some. I'm telling you, my brother Evan and my dad have had some really unique stories in just life in general. A lot of people always ask me about Eric, but I'm like, my brother Evan has had some unique stories.
Wow.
We just need the whole family at this point.
Yeah, just a group. Get all of them in the room. Just get them all in the room. We'll just figure it out. Yeah, bring everybody. Bring them all. All right. So what's your favorite pair of shoes?
Favorite pair of shoes, I would say Right now, I'm with the Harden threes. I'm actually sponsored by Adidas, so I can't say any other shoe other than Adidas right now. So I would say this. Now, this is going to be the funniest thing ever. I actually just got a new Terex shoe that I actually just bought, maybe about a couple weeks ago. I have not put them on, but my dog messed them up today. And I would say though the Terex in general, all those brand of Adidas shoes, I really enjoy those. I would say those are my favorite walking around shoes, and I would say that my favorite basketball shoes are probably the Harden threes.
Okay.
Cool.
Your favorite sports moment that you've either seen or witnessed?
Favorite sports moment that I've seen or witnessed. Oh wow. I would say moment. That's tough. Like, if you want to say a moment, I would have to say in 2012, Gary Harris, he played against North Central and he hit a half court shot to beat them in sectionals. You talk about a moment that I've seen in sports, that was up there. Another moment that I've seen, like, does it have to be in person or can it be on TV?
Both.
It could be both.
So two things for me is probably just last year, and I'm like I told you guys, I'm a big MMA fan. So when Juliana Pena beat Amanda Nunes, that was up there. And I would have to say the 2016 Cavs championship. I would say those are three things I think, including like in person and just sports moments in general. I would say that those are three that I think really stick out with me, all for different reasons. I would just say just from being there at the high school game and seeing like to see someone hit like a full court shot almost, someone who has not beaten North Central all year, for him to hit a full court shot, and obviously everyone knows Gary Harris was a really talented player, but for him to hit that and to be there and to see like literally all the stands just rush on the court, almost literally breaking the bleachers. That was pretty crazy. And then the Amanda Nunes Juliana Pena thing was just like those odds were so crazy. And like to literally be inside of a restaurant to see like people literally like yelling and screaming like all over the place because they literally put down like $40 and then they just won. Like, I'm telling you, I don't even know. Like, I know someone who put down like 100 that Pena was going to win. They were just throwing it out, and they ended up winning like 10,000. Like, it was one of the craziest odds ever. And then I would just say the Cavs just because I don't know. Like, I really do enjoy LeBron. I really don't even want to go down this whole debate, but I do think that it kind of lets someone else kind of enjoy the glory of, kind of being the best player ever and having that argument and whatever. So I kind of really enjoyed that, and to kind of see it in person for someone to achieve like a lifelong dream and everyone kind of knew what it was about, it was kind of special.
I mean, I feel like there's
like
multiple
those.
GOATs, but that's
I agree with that too. And I think,
Yeah.
like I said, my lifetime, everyone has always said Jordan, and then to kind of see someone who had been saying like I really want to be the best player ever, and to kind of have that. Obviously, it doesn't mean that he is, but I'm just saying that. But for something like that to happen, and it definitely meant a lot to see that.
Yeah, for sure.
I think those are three good moments.
Yeah, like I'm
like
sure
really
like, those were
solid.
three that I think I will never forget out of those three.
Yeah. So if you could be a hype man for any artist, who would it be?
Hype man for any artist. I mean, it would have to be Future. Dom 2 times. He's an Indiana artist. I would say those two. If you give me Future and Dom 2 times, those two I would definitely love to be hype man for.
Okay. So with you being from Indy, I gotta throw this in there. Are you a dancer at all?
No, I'm not a dancer at all.
Okay.
Actually kind of funny. A lot of people say that I can dance. Some people say that I can't dance. And it's all over the place. So my brother Evan, surprisingly enough, he can dance, of course. But I would say, nah, I'm not a dancer.
Evan just do everything.
Yeah, he just does everything.
Evan does everything.
When y'all see Evan, like you're gonna be shocked on how much stuff he's done. Like it's been crazy.
So does Evan? Yeah, I think it's called the Jiggalate. Does Evan hit that dance at all?
Yeah, he does a little bit. That's an Indianapolis thing. So yeah, he does.
Yeah, that's my dance right there.
Lord have mercy.
Woo,
All right.
T is something else, boy.
All right. I think this will be one of the last questions that we have for you. But if you could take over any organization, who would you?
Any organization to take over, I would say there's two. I would say Athletes Unlimited, which is I mean, obviously Chantel, that's an up and coming, women's sports brand, and I would say UFC. Those are two that I just think they're growing so fast and they're transcending so much that it's a unique experience. And actually what's so crazy is Carlos Knox is going to be coaching it, and that's someone who's kind of mentored me over the last year, because I actually did an internship with the Fever this summer. Well, not summer, spring. And he's actually going to be coaching it. So kind of just, kind of being around that, and, kind of being around, women and sports, and kind of being around, WNBA players a lot this spring. It was really cool. So that's something. Those are two organizations that I would be really interested in, being a part of. And the UFC kind of speaks for itself.
That's dope. I love it. We need more like you. We definitely do. Because you don't hear too many people that'll say like, I want to get into women's sports, like Athletes Unlimited or whatever the case may be. So for you to say that is huge, and it's definitely
I think a lot of it started like once I kind of did that, because in general, like I really wasn't like I've always supported, like obviously like I've supported women in general, but I think kind of going to my height, I mean the college games of the girls, but I think when I was able to kind of work with women in sports just on a day-to-day basis, kind of just helping them out and kind of just seeing the whole product behind it, it's a really unique thing, because a lot of times talking with them and kind of hearing their experiences actually very different than mine. Just them having to go overseas, a lot of them, like I've gotten close to a lot of the young Fever players, like Lexi Hall and Queen Egbo, just kind of just being able to share that experience, and to kind of just see what their careers like. There's a lot of them who if they wanted to, they could go to the WNBA right out of high school, but they had to stay for 4 years, and they've had to, well, the age of 22, I should say, but they had to, those are all things that are mandatory that aren't necessarily fair, but those are things that they didn't really have the option to do, and to want to play overseas and to do all that. It's a very different experience. And then the numbers are really low. Like that's one thing that I've thought about too, is like the G League. Like if I was a woman, like there's no G League, so I would not have the ability to play, like to be in the NBA. Like technically, I'm technically an NBA employee, and if I was in the WNBA, there would be no spots. And there's a lot of players that are good enough to be in the WNBA that just aren't. So being around that was unique.
It's the knowledge for me.
You got a favorite meme right now?
Favorite meme? Ooh. No favorite memes.
I was gonna say, what's the one that you drop in the group chat with the brothers?
I would say to bring me my money meme. Whenever we always bet on something, it's just we bet something. So I have to
bring me my money.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite meme that I've used with my family.
I love it. I love it. Yeah. All right. So last question, but you probably know this off the top of your head.
Mm-hmm.
Where can people follow you and keep up with everything that you got going on?
So for me, I have a lot of different places, but I'm gonna keep it really simple, because I think once you follow me on Instagram, Eron Gordon, ERONGORDON, you'll find everything else. So everyone can follow me at Eron Gordon, and on Twitter you can follow me at Eron Gordon1. So pretty much if you do that, or you can go to erongordon.com, and you can get all the information you need on there too as well.
All right. With that being said, fans, people out there in the streets, go ahead and give my man's Eron a follow. You will not be disappointed. And while you're at it, continue to follow Capturing the Game on every social media platform, whether it be on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. It's CTG_podcast. We're also on your favorite podcast platform, whether it be Spotify, Google, Anchor, Apple, you name it, we're on there. So go ahead, type in Capturing the Game podcast and go ahead, share it with one of your friends. Eron, it's been such a dope pleasure to have you on the podcast, man. And thank you for your time, man. Definitely best of luck going forward in the season, your career, getting married. You know, we're gonna be on the lookout for you.
Sure. Thank you. Much appreciated.